Hello everyone and welcome to our live coverage of Transporter 14 dedicated rideshare mission launch from West Coast, that is from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Deepto Maitra, performing the commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
You all are doing fine and excited for the upcoming Transporter 14 launch, which marks the fourth rideshare mission of this year for SpaceX. But it's pretty sure the excitement for SpaceX's next Axiom 4 mission is through the roof. But today, here we are, super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 505th overall launch and the 77th Falcon 9 launch of this year. Today's launch marks the 27th one from Vandenberg for SpaceX as they continue building their incredible launch cadence for the year. And it also marks the 200th overall orbital launch from Slick 4 East today. Today's mission is Transporter 14, a dedicated SmallSat rideshare mission by SpaceX, launching 70 payloads on board. SpaceX's SmallSat rideshare program that offers affordable options for small satellite operators. We are currently standing by for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 2:25 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time, 21:25 hours UTC at the opening of a 50-minute launch window from Vandenberg Space Force Base for SpaceX Transporter 14 mission, following a southwest trajectory. Now, before we ignite the engines on today's mission details, firstly, on behalf of AstroYonder team, we express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone for joining us on this launch ride. We are truly fueled up by your presence and support that inspires us to work more hard and to meet your expectations. A big thanks to our amazing YouTube community for the encouragement that keeps our mission flying as we provide you deep dive launch coverages loaded with extensive stats and thorough insights. Truly grateful to have you on board as we count down to the liftoff together. Would really appreciate if you guys could join the chat and let us know where you are joining from. Feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or opinion with us. That will make us to improve our streams and to know you more about you and your perspective. So don't be shy, just bring them on. We would love to hear from you guys. Now, just a heads up, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if by chance we face any technical hiccups or issues, please bear with me and be tuned in. There is absolutely nothing to worry about. I will do my best to guide you through the Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in approximately 58 minutes from now. The SpaceX will be starting the webcast 15 minutes prior to the liftoff. And here we are today having the webcast of our stream to start a little earlier so that we can share the insights and the stats with you guys. Now, today's launch marks SpaceX's 70th dedicated SmallSat rideshare mission, an impressive run that includes 13 launches under Transporter series previously and 3 from the newer Bandwagon series. As previously mentioned, today it marks the SpaceX's fourth rideshare mission of the year, and this includes one from the Bandwagon series, that is the Bandwagon 3 launched back in April, and two from the Transporter series, Transporter 13 in March and Transporter 12 back in January 2025. Worth mentioning, unlike most rideshare missions where the Falcon 9 booster returns to land for an RTLS, that is return to launch site landing operation at SpaceX's landing zone, today's mission will be a bit different. This time, the first stage will touch down on the drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, stationed in the Pacific Ocean, just like we saw during the Transporter 1 and Transporter 4 mission. Well, what may also would like to mention that during the Transporter 1 mission, we did saw the landing of the first stage booster to be made on Of Course I Still Love You drone ship, but during the Transporter 4 mission, we saw the landing to be made on the drone ship only, but supported by Just Read the Instructions at the East Coast. Now let's rewind a little bit and know the milestones SpaceX achieved in the recent past and to provide you some updates. SpaceX recently hit a huge milestone for them with the June 12th Starlink launch from Vandenberg, marking their 500th successful mission. And just a day later, with June 13th Cape Canaveral launch, they completed the first generation of direct-to-cell satellites constellation. So that's a back-to-back historic moment for the agency. That's pretty wild, but honestly, I'm a little bit disheartened as I was hoping the 500th launch would be the Axiom 4 mission, a human spaceflight mission that would have made it even more special. Although it's just my personal opinion, even everyone is hyped for the Axiom 4 mission, but honestly, it's starting to feel a bit restless. At least personally, I feel that with 7 postponements so far, and the wait is getting tough. Still, when it comes to human spaceflight, it's always better to play safe than to take any risk. And in the latest update, NASA has postponed the launch indefinitely once again, with no new target date shared yet. But the good news among all this mess is that SpaceX has successfully completed the wet dress rehearsal for the Falcon 9, confirming the rocket is ready to go. Now all we are waiting for is the green light from NASA and SpaceX once the ISS situation is fully under control, and of course, weather being cooperative. Now about the Starship issue you might be aware of, with Ship 36 exploded while preparing for a static fire at Starbase late Wednesday. But a good thing you can see about this issue is that this will be a this will be a if truly SpaceX investigation as confirmed by FAA, so there is no worry that the Starship will be grounded, as previously we saw it happened with the Falcon 9 during the investigation led by FAA. But it all depends now how SpaceX wrap up things at the message test stand that is severely blown up. Now, once again, just a reminder, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 2:25 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time, 21:25 hours UTC at the opening of a 50 minutes launch window on Monday, June 23rd of 2025. SpaceX adjusted their liftoff time by 7 minutes and also shrinking the launch window by 7 minutes as well. Now let's get into today's mission details. As we don't receive the launch weather forecast for the Vandenberg flights from 45th Weather Squadron, but reports suggest so far that the weather is looking good for today's Falcon 9 launch opportunity and the range is ready to support. Weather officials are keeping a keen eye on the weather for any probability of launch weather constraint violations. The forecast calls for a temperature of 17 degrees Celsius, scattered clouds with 30% cloud cover, and a wind speed of 11 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at today's payload details for Transporter 14 mission. On your screen, you can see the stack of the payload to be flown on the Transporter 14 mission before they were getting encapsulated by the fairing halves of the Falcon 9. Today's payload consists of 70 payloads, including CubeSat, microsats, re-entry capsules, and orbital transfer vehicles, also known as OTV in short, carrying 3 of those payloads to be deployed at a later time. That's a big number, but it's not a record for most payloads sent up on a single launch. That mark is 143 payloads, which got launched by SpaceX back in 2021 with their Transporter 1 mission. Today's launch marks SpaceX's 17th dedicated SmallSat Rideshare mission to date. That includes 13 launches under Transporter series and 3 from the newer but a different program named Bandwagon series. Together, these missions have lofted nearly 1,200 payloads, more than 1,200 payloads for more than 130 different customers. Transporter 14 payloads will be deployed into low Earth orbit from the Falcon 9's upper stage over roughly 1 hour and 49 minutes stretch, beginning about 54 minutes and a half after launch. For now, I will be providing an overview of the payload. We'll discuss them in details when the second stage will be in a coast phase. Now, before going into further discussion, would like to welcome Angry Bird, one of our moderators, joining us. Hopefully, Pop Replica will be joining us in a while, another moderator here at AstroYonder. I hope you are doing well, Angry Bird. I know it's getting late at your place, but thanks for tuning in and hope you will be enjoying the stream with us. Now about the payload, Exolaunch will deploy 45 microsatellites and CubeSats on the mission, including satellites, making Transporter 14 their largest ever rideshare mission. For unseen labs, the Hydrosat, Vanzil 2 satellite by Muon Space, and Gilmour Space's first satellite, that is ELARA-SAT, with a hyperspectral imagery to monitor water quality. Exolaunch will also deploy Forge Star 1 for United Kingdom startup SpaceForge. It will be the company's first satellite after its first satellite was lost on the failed Virgin Orbit UK mission in early 2023. Exolaunch deployment will utilize multiple deployment systems, including Carbonix microsat rings, Expo Pod Nova CubeSat dispenser, and Quadro 4-point deployers. Transporter 14 is Exolaunch's 37th mission, having integrated over 530 satellites across previous flights. SpireGlobe has 6 satellites on this mission, including payloads for 4 of its space services customer. This includes direct-to-cell Bluetooth startup Hubble Network, IoT startup Lacun for Lacuna Space, South Korean Earth observation provider, Hancom in Space, and Mission Control. GHG SAT C12 and C13 for GHG SAT will be on board to monitor the emission. They are actually the emission monitoring company as it continues to expand its constellation of 21 satellites. Next up, we have on board is the YAM 10 built by Loft Orbiter for the first satellite of Earth Daily Analytics and Earth Observation Company for their Earth observation constellation. This mission will include the SATMAR nanosatellite by Spanish company Allen Space for maritime communication, FOSAT 2E21, a 3-unit IoT Internet of Things. By IoT, I means Internet of Things. CubeSat developed by Madrid-based FOSA-SIS. Capella 17 for Capella Space will be on board. Next up, Winnebago 4 or the W Series 4, entirely developed in-house by Varda Space Industries, making Varda's third mission of 2025 and fourth overall. Varda recently secured FAA approval to conduct unlimited re-entry operations, becoming the first company to hold a re-entry vehicle operator license. Next up on board will be the Nano Avionics satellites, built a number of satellites on the please excuse me. So Nano Avionics built a number of satellites on this mission, including an in-orbit air traffic management demonstrator for Startical. Yes, I spelled it right. Skybeat 2 for Germany's Constellar, and Arvakar 2 and 3 maritime surveillance satellites for Norway's Kongsberg Defence and Aerospace. WISeSat 3.0 for WISeKey, a secure Internet of Things CubeSat contributing global connectivity. Next up again, Nano Avionics, which also built satellites for 2 universities, a quantum technology test satellites for Germany's Friedrich Schiller University, and a software testbed satellite for New Zealand's University of Auckland. Ion Orbital Transfer Vehicle will be on board for D-Orbit, a satellite tug that enables deploying payloads into precise orbits. Starfish Space is launching its Otter Pup 2, its second mission to attempt to dock with a spacecraft for in-orbit servicing. Italian RASCube nanosatellite, which is an Italian RAS initiative. AMSR Pocket Cube cluster for Herminas type, integrated by AMSAT-DL for in-orbit testing. Next up we have on board is the UARX Space System launching Dragoon. We should not be saying it Dragon, but it is having 2 O's in it, so Dragoon, I guess, like lagoon. I'm not joking, but it's so the spelling is like that, with GOON. The first of a 12 satellites prototype constellation for them, for UARX Space System, for the Space Development Agency's Tranche 1 demonstration and experimentation system, Tranche 1 DES mission, to demonstrate secure connectivity for warfighter platforms for targeting missile warning and tracking of advanced missile threats. Next, we will be having on board is the Mission Possible capsule, for the exploration company, also known as TEC in short, a re-entry test vehicle designed for cargo return test flights to be deployed late in the timeline, and I guess that will be the last payload to be deployed in today's flight. Houston-based Celestis and Exploration Company are also teaming up to fly a payload of 150 Celestis DNA or ashes capsules for memorial flight. Other payloads include BioOrbit's Mission Passive Payload, Celestis Perseverance Missile Capsule, and more. As I mentioned previously, we will be discussing about the payloads more in details when the second stage will be in the course phase. For now, I just provide an overview of today's payload on board. Now let's take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's Transporter 14 mission. Now, before moving on to the booster discussion, would like to welcome Zed for joining us. And let me just read you what you commented. Well, Zed, I'm not aware of that, what you are saying, unfortunately, but I hope I would have looked into that previously, but I was busy preparing for the payload details to be shared with you guys, so I missed that. So I'm sorry for that. But anyways, thanks for tuning in and sharing your question with us. But unfortunately, we are not able to answer that. But anyways, I hope that you will be enjoying the stream. Once again, thanks for tuning in, Zed. Now, about the booster with tail number 1071 supporting today's mission, which is quite a mature booster with 25 previous flights in its record, including 5 NROL missions, that is NROL 87, 85, 146, 153, and 192 missions. 2 SpaceX's Rideshare Transporter 8 and 9 missions, Sarah 1, SWAT, and second flight for SpaceX's new rideshare Bandwagon 2 mission. Additionally, the booster also supported 15 Starlink missions, now waiting its 26th flight, approximately 39 minutes away from now. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 23 days, and the last mission supported by today's booster was a Starlink Group 11-18 from here at Vandenberg on 31st of May this year. This launch also marks the booster's 5th flight of 2025 supporting today's mission. Also worth mentioning that this booster has completed all of its 25 previous launches from right here at Vandenberg itself. So that's all about the booster. Now let's have a look at the bar graph showing number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before this upcoming launch, SpaceX completed its 76th Falcon 9 launch for this year with Starlink Group 10-23 mission launch from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral on June 23rd, earlier in today, 2025, obscuring the number of annual launches made till year 2022. Right now, SpaceX is having 15 more than the launches made in 2022. Now, with today's launch of Transporter 14 mission, the bar graph shows 77 number of Falcon 9 launches for 2025. As of now, SpaceX is less than halfway to reach the number of launches made in year 2023 and 2024. With today's launch, SpaceX will be having 19 behind 2023's total and 55 short of 2024. As we know, SpaceX completed 132 Falcon 9 launches last year, marking its highest annual launch count to date. 134 launches in total, including 2 Falcon Heavy missions. Now, this year again, they are aiming to break their previous record with around 170 launches. That's an ambitious target, but let's hope that they will pull it off. Now, we have a request for you guys. If this stream fuels for your love for space, give this stream a like. It's kind of fine-tuning the trajectory of our mission to build a community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification so that you won't miss a single launch update. Here at AstroYonder, we believe together we will build the ultimate constellation of space enthusiasts, and we would be super grateful for your kind support. Now, please allow us a couple of seconds to check whether the liftoff time is still the same and to stay updated. Well, as of now, it's still the same, so no worries. Now, in today's pre-launch timeline, I'll be skipping that. Although on your screen, you can see the pre-launch timeline on the left-hand side of your screen. I will be skipping the pre-launch timeline discussion since it's a typical Falcon 9 launch with absolutely no alteration or deviations in any of the pre-launch events. However, there is one point I would like to highlight just for a quick knowledge, and which you might be already aware of, that the strong back reclining process at Vandenberg differs from that at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center. Here at Vandenberg, we recline the strong back 13 degrees, whereas at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9. That's the only thing different in today's pre-launch schedule, as this is a Vandenberg flight. Once again, just to remind you, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 2:25 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time, 21:25 hours UTC at the opening of a 50-minute launch window on Monday, June 23rd of 2025. Now, before moving for any further, would like to welcome Sean Price. Thanks for tuning in, Sean, and really grateful to have you on board. And you seems to be excited for the Earth Daily. I guess you are working for them. So for that, is it so? But anyways, that's here I must recognize each of the payload and their organization made by the organizations which made those payloads. They did a remarkable job, and really these are some cool technologies, and I must say that they will make a huge impact in the upcoming days. So huge congratulations to all the organizations and the team for having those payloads on board today. Also would like to welcome Marty Jones for tuning in and for supporting us while subscribing to our channel. I hope you will be enjoying the stream with us, Marty Jones. And about the set which asked about a question about the re-entry of the second stage. Well, you found it. I'm glad, and also I'm glad that you shared the information with us. But previously we saw that, and yes, as you are saying that previously we did saw the second stage to be crash, like to be landing on a residential site at Poland. Hopefully that won't be happening today. But I hope that you will be uh, having a real-time look, provided that the weather conditions supports your wishes there. Well, Sean mentioning that his friend is working for Earth Daily. That's quite exciting. I hope I would have studied a little more hard instead of just studying the computer science, and would have worked in these cool technologies. And really, it fascinates me nowadays that even these organizations are small, but their aims and their goals are really high with such innovative technologies they are building. Really, it makes me out of my mind that why I didn't study it a little more hard during my college days. But anyways, what you are saying, Angry Bird, go outside, guys. Hopefully those who will be able to see, they will watch. They won't be here sitting us for our webcast to see. So don't worry about that. But yes, it's obvious that to have a live view is more fascinating than to have a view here at the webcast. Now let's move on with the mission details, and let's go through and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Transporter 14 mission. With Transporter 14's 70 payloads on board, Falcon 9 will lift off from Space Launch Complex 4 East from Vandenberg Space Force Base for a somewhat southwesterly trajectory to low Earth orbit, indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you will be seeing indicates where Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later, leaving California's coast. Unlike other rideshare missions, this is going to be a off-the-land landing, a drone ship landing using autonomous spaceport drone ship, named, of course, I Still Love You, here at the East Coast. This will going to be the 139th landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship to date, if successful. Now, would like to just provide me a second. Would like to just show you that how other rideshare missions with landing zone having the first stage booster to land on the landing zone looks like. Although right now on your screen is today's trajectory, but right now I'll be playing the previous trajectories for rideshare missions, including the land landing here at the Vandenberg, which utilizes the landing zone 4. Right now you are watching a view of the trajectory for previous rideshare missions, unlike today's one, which utilized the landing zone next to its launch site here at Vandenberg, that is the landing zone 4 for its landing. But today it will be the drone ship supporting today's Transporter 14 mission. That is the, of course, I Still Love You drone ship. Now, once again, I will be playing the trajectory for today's mission so that you won't be having any confusion. Well, Zed, I'm sad that you won't be able to attempt to watch that in real time. And also today's webcast will be stretching a little bit long, and as you are seeing, it will be 2 a.m. at your place and you have work tomorrow. But yes, as you said, we will be getting some news, of course. So let's hope for that. So I hope you guys got good insight for today's trajectory for the Transporter 14 mission. Right now on your screen are some of the stats related to the drone ship as of today. Currently, there are 3 in SpaceX's drone ship fleet. Out of the 3, of course, I Still Love You is based here at California. And other 2, just with the instructions and a shortfall of Gravitas, are in Florida. We do anticipate the addition of a 4th drone ship occurring late this year, or who knows, in early next year, because as of now, we are not getting any information regarding that. But it was earlier promised by SpaceX that they will be adding a new drone ship in their fleet. Now, about the fairing recovery. The 2 fairing halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 55 kilometers downrange from where the first stage lands on the drone ship, of course, I Still Love You, after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve them from the Pacific waters. Right now on your screen, you can see how a fairing recovery looks like. Although the recovery vessel on your screen is Dirk performing the recovery operations, but today's supporting recovery vessel is Go Beyond here at the Pacific. This image on your screen I provided just to have you a rough idea that how a fairing operation looks like. Other recovery vessels at the East Coast, Bob and Go Cosmos, are waiting for their next assignment, while Doug, of which image you just saw now on your screen, is heading back to Port Canaveral after supporting the recent Starlink Group 10-23 launch from the East Coast. That marked the 76th Falcon 9 launch for this year. And right now we are waiting for the 77th one with the Transporter 14 mission. If you feel like we are adding value to your viewing experience, please consider giving this stream a like. It's kind of a fuel for YouTube's algorithm rocket, bringing in more space lovers, helping rocket fans discover this stream out, and growing our community of amazing space enthusiasts joining us right now like you. Also consider about smashing the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification, as we are burning the all-night propellant to bring you detailed streams packed with stats and insights. Your support would really inspire us and to keep up with our hard work to meet up your expectations. Now we are just 10 minutes away from the webcast to begin, so let's quickly get done with the stats for today's mission launch. Now, before that, Pacific time, it's wait, I got confused also. 2:25 p.m. To Marty Jones, I'm replying on the chat. It's 2:25 p.m. Pacific time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern time, and 21:25 hours UTC. SpaceX will be launching for the Transporter 14 mission. Now let's move on with the stats we have for you to share with. Today's launch marks the 505th SpaceX's overall launch and the 14th dedicated Rideshare mission launch under Transporter series, and the 4th of this year, with 17 in total for SpaceX's SmallSat Rideshare program. This is going to be the 492nd Falcon 9 launch to date. 26th flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster, supporting today's mission, with tail number 1071 being in action after 23 days. By that I mean the booster's turnaround time is 23 days. Today's mission marks 77th Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 80th overall launch of 2025, including 3 Starship flights this year. This will be the 433rd Falcon booster reflight to date. That is a launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. Well, that's the count for the whole Falcon booster family. We will be coming to Falcon 9's count shortly. Today's launch marks 133rd orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East, and a milestone for Slick 4 East as it marks the 200th overall orbital launch from the pad. Now moving on to some reusability statistics. This flight marks the 417th Falcon reflight of This flight marks the 417th reflight of a Falcon 9 booster to date. This will be the 139th landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship. 26th landing of this first stage booster with tail number 1071 supporting today's mission. With this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX will be having their 376th overall drone ship landing, marking 446th Falcon 9 landing so far and the 465th SpaceX's overall landing to date. Now, I know it might make you to have some confusion that why we are one less than the SpaceX count for the Falcon 9 landing and SpaceX's overall landing, as because we are not counting the landing failure that happened on Just Read the Instructions drone ship this year, as we are counting it's a partial success, so we are now not counting that in our stats. Now, speaking of drone ship landings, here are some of the stats for the drone ship landings prior to today's mission. So please don't get confused with the numbers shown on your screen. These drone ship landing stats on your screen right now are excluding today's mission. These are prior to today's launch. Now let's have a look into some key stats for SpaceX launches in this year, including this mission. With today's mission, SpaceX will be having its 80th launch of this year, and out of those, 57 were Starlink missions, 20 are non-Starlink missions for commercial and government organizations, including this one as well, and 3 Starship launches. 73 of these missions using a reuse booster, including today's one. Now, if we look into the geographical distribution, we get that SpaceX is having 50 launches from East Coast. On the West Coast, they will be having 27 launches, with today's Transporter 14 mission launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. And as of now, 3 launches from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas and 2 Super Heavy booster catches for Starship's 7th and 8th test flights. On Flight 9, no Super Heavy booster catch was attempted. Now for landings, they will be nailing it for the 75th time this year. Most of the landings are on drone ship with 66 landings. Of course, I Still Love You will be having its 23rd landing for this year. And for ground landings, they pulled off 9 of them this year. And right now, SpaceX is working on adding a landing pad at the East Coast as SpaceX's lease for landing zone 1 and 2 expires in July. And hopefully that will be a single landing zone instead of as we are having now landing zone 1 and 2, two separate of them. We will be having one of them at the East Coast. But that's a speculation. I'm not sure about that. I got a news, so that's what I'm sharing with you guys. Now, prior to today's launch, the success rate for the ground landings is 98.89%. For the drone ship landing, it is 96.90%, and the overall landing success rate is 97.27%. Now, the landing success rate for this year dropped to 98.67% due to the failure of the booster with tail number 1086 to land on the just read the instructions drone ship during Starlink Loop 12-21, 12-20 mission. And for the same reason, we are not counting this one, and we are short of one for the Falcon 9 landing and the SpaceX's overall landing, which we shared previously in our stats. So please don't get confused. Today's mission is the 141st launch since last mission failure. That is the Starlink 9-3 mission. Now, once again, this page of stats are prior to today's launch, and what we have is 140 successful launches since last mission failure with Starlink 9-3, 50 successful landings since the last landing failure with Starlink 12-20 mission, booster with tail number 1067 having highest number of flights and successful landings, that is 28 times, 352 missions with at least one reuse fairing, and approximately 672 number of fairing halves were reused prior to today's launch. We are just 2 minutes away from the webcast to begin, so let's just quickly get done with the two stats slides we have to share with you. Moving on to this year's orbital launches, including this one. Today's launch marks 138 orbital launch of this year. It is 138, yes, okay. After Starlink launch got be successful earlier in today, the United States is leading with 90 launches, followed by China with 35 launches, Russia with 7 launches, 1 launch by Japan, 2 launches by India, and Europe with 3 launches. Today we have Australia's payload on board, but Australia is also about to debut with the launch of Ares rocket, which got scrubbed on its initial attempt due to some fairing halves issue. And right now we have this pie chart showing 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch, Falcon 9 gearing up for its 77th launch. Now, while you check out the pie chart, let me have a look if the stream is rolling or not, and to stay updated as it's time for the webcast to begin. Yep, it's live. That's quite nice and quite on time as well. So let's head over. Now let's head over to the webcast and provide me a couple of seconds as so that I can set the stream up for you guys. SpaceX is now playing some pre-launch tunes. I will patch the mission audio feed once it drops. Adding value to your viewing experience is our top priority here at AstroYonder. If you felt we somewhat achieved that, please consider liking this stream. It really helps others to find this stream. Also consider subscribing to our channel as we work hard to bring you stream packed with stats, details, and insights. We would be incredibly grateful for your kind support. Now, just a quick reminder, when the second stage will be in the course phase, we will be deep diving into the payload details. Previously, I just provided an overview of the payload to be getting launched about the Falcon 9 for Transporter 14 mission. So right now we are waiting for the webcast to begin from SpaceX's end. And I hope you guys did watch the Kuiper 2 mission, which got launched earlier today from Cape Canaveral from Space Launch Complex 41, deploying the second batch of Project Kuiper satellites that will make the overall constellation size for the Kuiper to be 54 of them. Although they have to launch more than 3,200 satellites for the initial first constellation, like first gen constellation for Kuiper. And with ULA, that is United Launch Alliances, they have a tie-up for 46 of launches, and out of those, 2 are already done with 2 Atlas V rocket launches. So there we go. We have the webcast rolling. Let the mission audio feed drop in. I will patch in that for you guys. The guys really missing the Axiom 4 mission when it will be getting to be launched. I guess those glimpses of the landing zone 1 and 2 will be vintage if they won't be having 2 of them separate at the East Coast. Once again, just a reminder, the lease for SpaceX's landing zone 1 and 2 will be expiring in July.
Good afternoon and welcome to our webcast for the Transporter 14 mission. Falcon 9 is currently scheduled to lift off in just under 10 minutes from now from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base, which is just a few hours north from us here in Hawthorne, California. My name is Jesse Anderson and I'm a Senior Production Engineering Manager here at SpaceX.
And I'm Tyler Lionquist, an analyst for Starlink. Today we are sending 70 payloads to orbit, including CubeSats, microsats, re-entry capsules, and orbital transfer vehicles, carrying 3 of those payloads to be deployed at a later time. One of those payloads we're delivering to orbit today is called Mission Possible, the exploration company's second space capsule prototype. The capsule will carry 25 client payloads into orbit and perform a controlled atmospheric re-entry and splashdown. All spacecraft on board today will separate from the second stage across 66 deployment events, scheduled to start around T+54 minutes and conclude about 2 hours and 43 minutes after liftoff.
SpaceX has launched more than 1,200 payloads to orbit for more than 130 customers across our entire rideshare program. This launch marks our 17th dedicated SmallSat rideshare program launch between our transporter and bandwagon missions. If you're interested, we have a full list of payloads for today's mission available on spacex.com/launches.
We are currently working toward a liftoff of 2:25 p.m. Pacific Time. If needed, there is a backup launch opportunity tomorrow at 2:18 p.m. Pacific Time. But right now, the weather is currently green on the Central Coast and the range is ready to support. While the countdown continues, let's take a moment to learn a bit more about the Mission Possible payload flying today.
It is in our nature to explore the fabric of our existence.
Well, guys, I have to mute the audio here as these are having some copyrighted tracks on them, but you can enjoy the view with us. Also would like to welcome Pop Topeka joining us. One of our moderator was expecting you, Pop Topeka was mentioning about you earlier in the stream, but anyhow you made it. Thanks for that. I guess you were busy, and although it's I guess evening time at your place, but once again thanks for tuning in, Pop Topeka. Would be happy to have you with us while we watch the Transporter 14 mission. Well, right now we are watching the trailer video, you can say, for the Mission Possible from the exploration company.
The Falcon 9 rocket supporting today's mission is a two-stage rocket designed for reliable and safe transportation of satellites, cargo, and people. Starting from the very top of the vehicle, we have
Stage
the
1 RP
payload.
load is complete.
We have the payload fairing, which might be a little foggy there in Vandenberg, but the payload fairing is a protective shell that houses all the payloads, shielding them from aerodynamic heating until the vehicle is outside of the Earth's atmosphere.
The shape of the fairing contributes to Falcon.
Just to interrupt you guys, while you are watching, we got the call out that stage 1 RP1 prop load is complete. We are still loading the liquid oxygen on both the stages, and we'll be hearing the call outs for the completion soon.
One side flying for its 20th time and the other for the 7th time.
And within that payload fairing is today's payload stack, which was encapsulated just a few days ago. And there you can see a photo from midway through that operation just before the fairing halves were closed in preparation for flight. And right below the fairing is the Falcon 9 second stage, which houses a single Merlin vacuum engine, or what we call the MVAC engine. And below that is the second stage. Below the second stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage, and inside of that inner stage is where the MVAC engine is located.
The inner stage connects the two stages and houses the center pusher that allows the first and second stage to separate.
Pressing for strongback retract.
So the truss structure.
We got the call out that they are pressurizing the tanks for the strongback retract. So next event will be retraction of the strongback away from the Falcon 9. And here at Vandenberg, we recline the strongback 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. And I hope they will be providing us some close-up views so that we can see the strongback getting reclined away from the Falcon 9.
Strongback retract has started.
The first stage makes up the bottom 2/3 of the vehicle and has 9 Merlin 1D engines at the bottom. Those 9 Merlin engines generate more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. The first stage supporting today's mission will be making its 26th flight today, having previously launched 5 NRL missions, SARA 1, SWAT, Transporter 8 and 9, Bandwagon 2, and 15 Starlink missions.
We are getting close to T-minus 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Right now we are watching this live view, and right now on your screen you can see the live view of the drone ship. Of course, I still love you, station in the Pacific Ocean supporting today's mission. Right now we are chilling in the 9 Merlin 1D engines back up from T-minus 7 minutes.
today's significantly increased access to space for small satellite operators around the world, and we're excited to be able to offer these launch opportunities for
Well, Pop Typical, you said it well, like the Michael Jackson lanes.
Space by flying reusable vehicles, dedicated rideshare flights provide small satellite operators competitive pricing, increased flight opportunities, and flexibility.
As the demand for rideshare missions has continued to rise, our rideshare program was expanded to accommodate even more small satellites.
So, according to our
Falcon 9 launched its second
moderators,
mission last year.
humorous comment, right now the strong back is reclined like Michael Jackson, leaning away from the Falcon 9, that is 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. And we did got the call out that the stage 1 LOX load is complete. We are still loading the liquid oxygen loading of the first stage, for the second stage, and we will be getting the call out for that in about T-minus
rideshares.
2 minutes mark.
And with that, we're proceeding into the last few minutes of terminal count. For our next major milestone, we're waiting for that call out of second stage LOX loading completion.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
There we go. Stage 2 LOX load is complete, meaning all the propellants are now on board the Falcon 9 with 1 million pounds of propellant. We are now beginning to vent down the pressure that was in the tubing on the strong back. That's why we can see those white clouds coming out there. This is absolutely normal, and rather it's a healthy indicator for the launch coming up.
To maintain pressure in the tanks as needed. And when that vented oxygen mixes with the warmer California air outside, it condenses into those clouds that you're seeing. So we're standing by now for confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup at the T-1 minute mark.
Next up, we are expecting for the call out for the Falcon 9 being in startup, controlling the remaining of the countdown.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Good call out there. Falcon 9 is in startup. That means the internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. We're now just waiting for the final call from the launch director.
LD is go for launch.
So SpaceX launch director giving the final go for the launch. We are coming close to T-minus 30 seconds, excuse me. All systems continues to remain go for the launch of Falcon 9 and the payload on board with the Transporter 14 mission. A huge congratulations to all of those organizations having the payload on board the Transporter 14 mission. Now let's sit back and enjoy the liftoff.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Transporter 14. Vehicle pushing down range.
E plus 23 seconds into the flight, we have a successful liftoff of Falcon 9 with 70 payloads on board for the Transporter 14 mission. Right now, we are into a throttle bucket. We are throttling down the 9 Merlin engines as we prepare for the period of maximum dynamic stress coming up. Next, we are expecting a call out for vehicle being supersonic, and we did got some good healthy call out that the power, telemetry, and propulsion is nominal.
Throttling down to prepare for max Q. That's the point of maximum aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle. Max Q is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster than the increase in speed of the rocket.
We got the call out, vehicle being supersonic. That means Falcon 9 exceeded Mach 1. And we got the call out, the max Q call out. We are right now to the period of maximum dynamic stress on the vehicle. We have throttled the Merlin engines back up to full power. Next, we are expecting the call out for MVAC engine chill.
Down to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, which is where the first stage separates from the
MVAC
second
chill has
stage.
started.
There we go. We got the call out, MVAC engine chill call out. So we now started to chill down the MVAC engine on the second stage prior to its ignition with payloads on board just after stage separation. Coming up, 3 events in rapid succession. The shutdown of main engine on the first stage, that is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation and ignition of the second stage MVAC engine, also known as SES-1, that will boost the payload into low Earth orbit. So let's listen to those callouts while enjoying this magnificent view from the Falcon 9's first stage. And as today it's a daytime, approximately you can say, not a daytime launch, but we still have daylight, so hopefully we will be getting good views from both the stages.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
So there we go. We got all the callouts for all the back-to-back callouts for MECO, stage separation, and MVAC ignition. And right now you can see on the left-hand side of your screen those 4 hypersonic titanium grid fins to slowly begin deploying as the stage separation is successful. Next, expecting the confirmation call out for fairing separation. There we go. First view in today's flight with the payload.
Confirmed.
And there we got the call out for successful fairing separation. And you can see also those fairing halves falling down back. Now we are getting some awesome views from the second stage. I don't know why. Oh, yep, they are providing the first stage view as well. So right now this first stage will rise towards the apogee before it descends back to Earth.
Vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
We got some healthy call out. Both the vehicle means first and second stage are in nominal trajectories. The first stage is heading back towards its landing site for, of course, I Still Love You drone ship stationed in the Pacific Ocean. Second stage, meanwhile, in middle of its 6 minutes of burn on its way into the parking orbit. So far, the launch has been great. The first stage has done its job and its way back. The second stage is running at full power and we are getting amazing views from both the stages. We are getting ready for the first stage to return to the drone ship landing site. And also worth mentioning today, unlike any Falcon 9 launch for Starlink, we will be having 5 second stage ignition and shutdown, that is starting from SECO 1 to SECO 5, and also accompanied by SES-1 to SES-5,
which helps with attitude control.
Next, we are expecting the call out for stage 1 entry burn startup. Now, just a heads up, when we will be hearing stage 1 FTS being saved, that indicates re-entry burn for stage 1 has been either initiated or accomplished. And hearing the stage 2 FTS being saved means that the second stage is up with the orbital insertion burn. We are just now approximately 20 seconds away from the stage 1 entry burn to startup.
Just about 10 seconds away from that entry burn on that first stage. The first stage is just using its grid fins at the moment to help guide its way back to the drone ship, and this entry burn will help slow down the vehicle.
And there is a confirmation for stage 1 entry burn startup. We just lit 3 of 9 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. We are rapidly slowing down the vehicle, as you can see on the bottom left hand side of your screen from the telemetry as it enters to Earth's atmosphere, and this burn should last just around 25 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
There's confirmation of the stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Engines have cut off on the first stage vehicle, ending the entry burn for the first stage today. As mentioned earlier, we are scheduled to land on our drone ship, of course.
Next, we are expecting the call out for stage 1 transonic.
And landing for this specific booster.
And during the landing burn, we are expecting the shutdown of the second stage and back engine. This is known as second engine cutoff 1 or SECO 1.
Well, yes, that's the point also to be noted that today before, there we go, we got the call out, stage 1 being transonic, meaning that stage 1 right now is traveling slower than the speed of sound, heading back towards its landing site. As the drone ship, of course, I Still Love You waits for the Falcon 9's first stage landing, just less than 60 seconds away from now. Next, expecting the call out for stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn. Stage
And
TS has saved.
there we go, great views of that landing burn with center E9 engine now lit. With that, we are slowing down the vehicle furthermore very rapidly. Should be seeing those landing legs deploy any seconds now.
Stage 1 landing leg deployed.
Landing legs deployed. And we got the call out for SECO as well.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
So there we have it. We have a successful 446th landing of an orbital class Falcon 9 rocket. We did had SECO 1 prior to today's landing, unlike other Starlink missions supported by Falcon 9. And following that SECO 1, that is for the first time, the second stage engine cutoff happened in today's flight. And following that event, the second stage with payload on board will enter into nearly 43 minutes of course phase as the vehicle ascends to its target orbit for the payload deployment. Now, once again, just to remind you that now in today's flight, we will be relighting the second stage 4 times to reach the desired orbit for each of the payloads and for their deployment. We did got the call out for the good nominal orbit insertion. That's a healthy call out. Now about the payload deployment. At T plus 51 minutes and 3 seconds, the second stage MVAC engine will reignite for the second time in today's flight for a short 4 seconds of burn, that is SAS2, and turning it off at T plus 51 minutes and 7 seconds, that is SECO2. After 3.5 minutes following the SECO2 event, satellite's deployment will begin at approximately T plus 54 minutes and 35 seconds into the flight for the first set of payloads to be getting deployed, beginning with Quake 3 satellite manifested by Exolaunch. Right now they are showing a clip for Falcon 9. Right now my ears are just waiting for these words to hear that Dragon is go for launch, when they will be providing the launch date for Axiom mission.
Computers in control of the vehicles.
this video they edited in such a nice way. Was discussing about that with my girl recently, that soon we will be having a trailer for the Starlink launches, and hopefully we will be able to make that video in the same fashion.
To bring you live coverage of SES2.
Now, just to remind you, today's launch marks SpaceX's 505th successful mission launch, with landing marking their 465th success, and with the 17th dedicated rideshare mission. So right now we are in the course phase for 43 minutes of the second stage with the payload on board. So we have a plenty of time meanwhile. Once again, just to remind you, today's payload deployment will begin at approximately T plus 54 minutes and 35 seconds into the flight, with the first set of payloads to be deployed, beginning with the quick 3 satellite manifested by Exolaunch. So right now we have plenty of time to discuss about the payload. So let's go ahead with the payload discussion in details as much as I could do so. I hope I won't be disappointing you guys with the research I did, although it's really hard to find all the details because some of the details are not available on the net as well clearly mentioned. Once again, I'm just showing you the payload stack before it got encapsulated in the Falcon 9's payload fairing prior to its launch, and you can see some of the visible payloads and their operators on your screen right now. Now, as we know, this one is the Transporter 14 mission. We can say it is the biggest payload they are carrying in a rideshare mission. That's 143. That's the record for them during the they said during the Transporter 1 mission. But today's one also is not a small one, it's a big one, with 70 satellites for a mix of commercial companies, universities, and even some non-profits. So you can say this is like a cosmic burst dropping off payloads from all over the world. And I got some of the latest and most accurate details, what's on board and who's behind them and what they are aiming to do. So let's start with the payload discussion. So first, let's discuss about the Exolaunch deployment, deploying the majority of the satellites or the payload on board, that is the 45 number of them. Exolaunch, developed by Germany and USA, operated by Exolaunch on behalf of 25 customers from USA, UK, Lithuania, Finland, Belgium, Germany, Australia, Canada, South Korea, France, Japan, Spain, Norway, Italy, and Greece. So I hope I still didn't cover all the customers from different countries, but still this much I could find in the internet about the details for the payload being manifested by Exolaunch. Now, Exolaunch is a Berlin-based leader in launch services, helping small satellites to get into orbit. They developed over 530 satellites across 36 missions, previously using everything from SpaceX's Falcon 9 to Rocket Lab's Electron. They are the go-to for coordinating complex rideshares, ensuring payloads reach their orbit with precision. Now, Exolaunch is managing, as I mentioned before, 45 satellites for this mission, their biggest single deployment yet, with a mix of microsatellites up to 250 kilograms and CubeSats up to 16 units deployed via their Carbonix and ExpoPod systems. These satellites cover a range of missions: Earth observation, Internet of Things, scientific research, and tech demos. The goal is to enable a diverse group of customers to test new technologies, gather data, or build constellation, making space more accessible for global innovators. This batch likely includes some of the other payloads like Care-Weather's very OG or WISeSat 3.0. Exolaunch role is pivotal, acting as the middleman to get satellites from 15 countries into orbit, supporting everything from climate monitoring to secure communication. Now, in today's payload on board, next up we have the MMS-1, developed by Gilmour Space, Australia, also being operated by Gilmour Space. Now, about Gilmour Space, I guess you guys are a little bit familiar with the previous launch they attempted for the Ares rocket, which was completely developed in Australia. Gilmour Space is based in Queensland. Gilmour Space is an Australian innovator building small launch vehicle like the Ares rocket and satellite platform like the Elara Sat bus that is right now on board the Falcon 9's second stage in the course phase. They are focused on making space affordable for commercial and government clients, boosting Australia's space industry. Now, the payload on board, the MMS-1, or you can say the Elara Sat bus for Gilmour Space, a approximately 100 kilogram satellite on the Elara Sat bus, is likely a technology demonstrator for commercial space services. Its goal is to validate Gilmour Space satellite platform, providing it can handle orbital tasks and paving the way for future missions. MMS-1 is a big moment for Australia, of course, showing they are not just a launching rocket, but also building satellites that can compete globally. Next up, we have the Quick 3 satellite on board, developed by Nano Avionics, which is based in Lithuania in collaboration with the Friedrich Schiller University in Germany. This Quick 3 satellite will be operated by Germany, a German entity, likely the Friedrich Schiller University. Now, about Nano Avionics and the Friedrich Schiller University. Nano Avionics, based in Lithuania, builds versatile satellite buses for missions like communication and Earth observation services clients worldwide. Friedrich Schiller, meanwhile, the Friedrich Schiller University, meanwhile, is a German research university with expertise in quantum technologies and space research. The purpose and goal of the Quick 3, which is a 3-unit CubeSat, is designated to test quantum communication in orbit and explore quantum physics in microgravity. Its goal is to advance secure communication technologies and deepen our understanding of quantum mechanics in space. This mission highlights Europe's push into quantum tech, which could revolutionize secure data transmission. Quick 3's dual focus on science and tech demos shows how university and industry can team up for cutting-edge research. Next up, we have Vanzil 2, developed by Muon Space and Hydrosat, that will be also operated by both of them. Now about Muon Space, it's a California startup which builds satellites for climate monitoring, delivering critical environmental data. Hydrosat specializes in water resolution management using thermal infrared imaging to track water usage and draw conditions. Now, just to remind you guys, those who are still hanging up with us, that right now I made the webcast to look smaller because they are not showing anything interesting right now, just the trajectory. So once we will be having any good views of the second stage, we will make the webcast to look bigger, as meanwhile we are discussing a little bit about the payload in depth. And once again, my sincere apologies if I'm missing any of the payload, but I could just manage only this of the payload details, which I'm going to discuss with you guys. And I have no intention or any like biasness to uphold any of the payload and other not. So for that, I am sorry if I'm not able to cover all of the payloads on board. Now about the Vanzil 2, which we were discussing previously, which is an Earth observation satellite with a thermal infrared imager joining Vanzil 1 to image over 10 million square kilometers daily. Its goal is to provide data for climate monitoring and water management, filling gaps left for older satellites like Landsat, especially in cloudy conditions, using 9 spectral bands. Vanzil 2 is a key player in tackling climate change, offering insights into water scarcity and agricultural needs. Its ability to see those through clouds makes it a game changer for environmental monitoring. Next on board, we have the D-Orbit Ion 2 vehicles, that is SCV 018 and SCV 019, developed by an Italian-based organization called D-Orbit, and will be operated by D-Orbit itself. Now about D-Orbit, it's based in Italy, is a leader in space logistics, offering orbital transfer vehicles, OTV in short, like Ion, to deploy satellites or host payloads. They are all about making space operations more flexible and sustainable. Purpose and goal for the payload on board for D-Orbit is that they will be carrying multiple payloads, including propulsion tech and propulsion technology from Pale Blue Japan, and a 5G communication demo for France. Their goal is to deploy satellites into precise orbits over time, supporting constellation building and testing advanced in-orbit technologies. So you can say that we have a rideshare mission. Inside the payload, we have another rideshare mission, although it's so for the Exolaunch as well. Now, the Ion vehicles are like space taxis, giving satellites a ride to their final destination. And this mission tests new propulsion and communication system, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in orbit. Next, we have the Nix Mission Possible capsule, and we did saw a trailer previously during the beginning of the webcast from SpaceX for the next Mission Possible. So next mission possible is developed by the exploration company, also known as TEC in short, which is based in France, which is a French startup developing reusable space tugs for in-orbit servicing and logistics, aiming to make space exploration more sustainable and cost-effective. The next mission possible is a re-entry capsule testing reusable tug technology, hosting RAS Cube 1, a 1-unit CubeSat from Robinson Aerospace, Australia, and the Celestis Perseverance Memorial Payload, which carries cremated remains for space burials. This goal is to prove NICS's re-entry capabilities while supporting smaller missions. The payload blends innovation with sentiments as well, testing technology that could enable future lunar missions, offering a unique memorial service. It shows how space can serve both practical and emotional purpose, and I hope this emotional purpose I could achieve that as well. Next up, we have the OSSIE, OSSIE, to spell it in a right way, by UARX Space, which is based in Spain, building orbital transfer vehicles for satellite deployment and hosted payloads, focusing on cost-effective solutions for SmallSat missions. OSSIE or OSSIE, an orbital transfer vehicle carrying 5 passenger satellites today and supporting 12 customers, deploying them into specific orbits, or you can say hosting experiments. Its goal is to streamline constellation deployment and support diverse missions. The OSSIE's role as a space shuttle bus highlights the growing needs for flexible logistics in orbit, making it easier for smaller players to join the space game. Next, we have IOV, developed by Xona Space Systems, built by Aerospace Lab, but which will be operated by Xona Space Systems only, which is based in Canada. And Aerospace Life, which built the IOV, is based in Belgium. As I mentioned, Xona is a Canadian startup building a global navigation system to rival GPS, focusing on high precision positioning. Aerospace Lab in Belgium manufactures versatile satellite platforms for various missions. IOV for Xona Space System is a 149 kilogram satellite carrying a positioning, navigation and timing, also known as PNT in short, payload to test Xona's navigation system. The goal is to develop a constellation offering centimeter level accuracy for applications like autonomous vehicles. The IOV payload on board is a step towards the next generation navigation network, potentially transforming industries from transportation to agriculture. Aerospace Lab's involvement in this underscores Europe's growing satellite manufacturing power. Now, I would like to take a break in this payload discussion. Next, we will be starting our discussion with the Winnebago 4, that is from the Varda Space Industries. Let me also have a little bit rest in between. So we are at T plus 31 minutes, getting close to T plus 32 minutes into the flight. Also would like to welcome Chandrasekharan Vladimir for joining us and to subscribing us. I hope Chandrasekharan, you are doing well and enjoying the stream with us. And Pop Replica, yes, it's true. Australia is now what can I say, acing in the space industry. I hope they will be soon declaring the launch date for the Ares rocket, and they are in between. They gave a it was from a um, engineer working there was having a funny post that a bird is having in the Ares rocket, sitting on the Ares rocket, and that bird is doing a inspection of the rocket. But that was just to make a fun out of that. But they are still doing their job with the, I guess, with the payload fairing only, because that caused a scrub for the Ares rocket on its initial attempt. And one thing I must recognize and appreciate as well, that unlike Spectrum rocket launch from Norway, which they were not initially streaming, but upon request from all the space lovers like us, and to be precise, let me say it, rocket lovers like us, they thought to stream it later on. But here Gilmour Space clearly stated that they won't be focusing on the webcast for the Ares rocket launch. But this they said earlier. I don't know now, after the initial scrub attempt, what they will be doing and what their stand will be with the streaming of the launch. But initially they said that they won't be launching, they won't be streaming to minimize the non-essential network traffic, likely a precaution against bandwidth-related risk. It's a strategy also seen previously with Rocket Lab's Electron, which skipped streaming its first flight back in 2017 for similar operational concerns. Gilmour Space seems to prioritize mission success over public engagement for now. But that's good. No issues. Of let them to be get done and to be proficient with the rocket, the Ares rocket. Then, like Rocket Lab, we will be having their launches to cover as well. Still, we are having the trajectory to be shown from SpaceX's end. Right now, you can see on your screen. The second stage is in a course phase of 43 minutes. After its first SECO, that is second stage cutoff, that happened at approximately 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, 8 minutes and 40 seconds to be precise, I guess. So now let's get back to the payload discussion. So we are now about to discuss about the Winnebago 4 developed by Varda Space Industry. About Varda, I guess you all are familiar with, but those who are new, Varda is based in California, that pioneers in in-space manufacturing using microgravity to produce high-value materials like pharmaceuticals with re-entry capsules to return products to Earth. Now, Winnebago 4 is a re-entry capsule with an Iridium 962D modem on board, testing in-orbit manufacturing, likely for pharmaceuticals. Its goal is to provide microgravity production and safe re-entry, advancing space-based industries. This mission could revolutionize drug manufacturing by leveraging microgravity's unique properties, with Varda leading the charge in turning space into a factory. Next payload on board, we have the Acadia 7, developed by Capella Space. I guess this name is also well known to you guys. We did saw many of their launches supported by Rocket Lab, and Capella is based in San Francisco, specializes in synthetic aperture radar satellites, also known as SAR in short, providing all-weather day-night Earth imaging for applications like disaster response and defense. Acadia 7 is a SAR satellite for high-resolution imaging, supporting disaster monitoring, urban planning, and security. Its goal is to expand Capella's constellation for near real-time Earth observation. Synthetic aperture radar's ability to see through clouds makes Acadia 7 a critical tool for global monitoring, especially in crises where traditional imaging fails. Now, next up, we have my favorite payload on board. And why I'm saying so is just for the technology. None of my known person is working in that organization, or neither me. But let's now discuss about the Otter Pup 2 developed by Starfish Space. Starfish is a US startup that develops in-orbit servicing technology like docking and maneuvering to extend satellites' lifespan and reduce debris. The Otter Pup 2, a 40-kilogram demo satellite, will test the docking and rendezvous with another satellite. And to be precise, let me say that the another satellite will be from D-orbit, which will be an unprepared with an unprepared docking. Its goal is to prove Starfish's system that can repair or reposition satellites, promoting sustainable space orientations. This mission is a big step towards a future where satellites can be maintained in orbit, cutting down on space junk and extending mission lifespan. And I guess with this rendezvous and the docking of the Otter Pup on the D-orbit satellite, that will be a first commercial organization to perform this technology in orbit. Next, we have TPA-1. Now, let me just check how many of them are left. It's a huge list. But anyways, I will be covering them in also in batches, like how the payloads will be getting deployed. After the initial batch getting to be deployed, we will have again the SCS-2. And after that, we will again get into some course phase meanwhile in between them, the payload deployments. So in that time, we will be discussing the rest of the payloads. Let me check how much time is left. So we are getting close to the payload deployment at 53 or 54 and a half minutes into the flight. So let's just quickly get done with at least this payload on board. That is the TPA-1, developed by University of Auckland in New Zealand. Also will be operated by them. TPA-1 is a 3-unit CubeSat, likely for educational or scientific research, possibly testing technology or collecting data. Please excuse me. So about TPA-1, I was saying it's a 3-unit CubeSat, which is likely for the use of education or scientific research, possibly testing technology or collecting data for student projects. Its goal is to train students and advance New Zealand's space capabilities. Next payload on board is the UND Roads 1 and 2. Let me spell it for you guys. UND Roads 1 and 2, developed by University of North Dakota and will be operated by themselves, that is the University of North Dakota. So with that you can get a hint that why the naming convention is like that, University of North Dakota. So if we take the initial letters, it's UND. So UND is a leader in aerospace education with strong CubeSat program for remote sensing and tech demos, training students in real-world space missions. These two 3-unit CubeSats focus on remote sensing or technology demonstration, collecting data for environmental or engineering studies. Their goal is to support academic research and student training. Next payload on board is the Hubble 4 and 7 satellites developed by Hubble Network. Don't get confused with the Hubble Space Telescope. The name is the same, with 4 to 5 by Spire Global and 6 to 7 by EnduroSat organization based in Bulgaria. Now about the Hubble Network, Spire and EnduroSat. Hubble Network is building a space-based Internet of Things network for global connectivity. Spire Global provides satellite platform and data services, while EnduroSat specializes in CubeSat manufacturing, both supporting innovative missions. These 4 16-unit CubeSats will be getting deployed at 590 kilometers, aim to provide global internet access, connecting devices in remote areas. The goal is to expand Hubble's Internet of Things constellation, bridging digital divides. Next up, we have the Care Weather Very G satellite, developed by Care Weather Technologies, a US company focused on weather monitoring. Care Weather builds small satellites to collect real-time data for forecasting and climate studies. Very OG, a 0.95 kilogram 1-unit CubeSat, which will be deployed via Exolaunch's ExoPod dispenser that will gather weather data at 590 kilometers to improve forecasting and disaster preparedness. This tiny satellite punches above its weight, contributing to better weather prediction and helping communities prepare for the extreme events. Next up, we have the Emergency Communication Satellite, developed by Good Ancestors, operated by Good Ancestors as well, which is a US non-profit organization which promotes sustainability and humanitarian efforts using technology to support communities in crisis. This 2-unit CubeSat will test emergency communication with LoRa, LoRa radios, SDR, and VHF antennas, aiming to provide reliable communication during disaster for humanitarian aid. Well, this mission is a beautiful example of space servicing humanity, ensuring communication lifelines when they are needed the most. Next up, we have the DISCO 2. Yes, the name is such like that, DISCO. So it's DISCO 2 satellite by Aarhus University based in Denmark. Aarhus is an active space research organization developing CubeSats for scientific studies like space weather or atmospheric phenomena. DISCO 2 is a 3-unit CubeSat weighing approximately 6 kilograms. Will likely study the space weather or atmospheric conditions, contributing to scientific knowledge of space environment. Previously bumped from Transporter 12 mission, now today's on board. DISCO's launch shows that the persistence of academic mission is advancing our understanding of space. Next payload on board is the NPC Spacemind, 2 deployers developed by NPC Spacemind, which is an Italian company specializing in CubeSat deployers. NPC Spacemind helps space satellites reach orbit efficiently, supporting constellation growth. And these 2 16-unit deployers in today's flight will release additional small satellite, facilitating constellation deployment and mission flexibility. Next up on board is the WISeSat 3.0, developed by WISeKey and will be operated by WISeKey itself, which is a Swiss cybersecurity company. WISeKey is expanding into space with satellites for secure IoT communications, focusing on data protection and connectivity. WISeSat 3.0 is a part of a constellation for secure Internet of Things communication, aiming to provide encrypted data transfer for industries like finance and logistics. Next up, we have AE2A payload satellite developed by JAXA. Well, we'll discuss about that a little later. We will be having the payload deployment to start in a while. We did got the view from the second stage MVAC engine, and there we go. We got again the view from that. There we go. We have the SES2 for a short 4 seconds of burn that already got done with a SECO 2. That is, and once again we got the call out for the nominal orbit insertion, and with that we already did 2 planned ignition of the second stage MVAC engine out of 5 of them.
Confirmation of good orbital insertion. Now with that burn complete, we are on track to start our first wave of payload deployments in just a few minutes. And there you can see on your screen some of those payloads attached to the Falcon 9 second stage.
Now, as a reminder, today we are sending 70 payloads to orbit, including CubeSats, microsats, re-entry capsules, and orbital transfer vehicles, carrying 3 of those payloads to be deployed at a later time. There will be a total of 66 separate deployment events today, and for this first batch, we're expecting 30 separate deployments.
These will individually separate from Falcon 9's second stage, one right after another, and we should hear callouts as the payloads are deployed. Additionally, we are expecting to have live views from most of these deployments today, and the first deployment sequence will begin with Quick 3, manifested by Exolaunch, and will conclude with Dragoon, manifested by UARX Space Systems.
So we're expecting the first of those deployments in just under a minute and a half.
If you're just now joining us, you are watching the Transporter 14 mission. This mission carries several payloads for multiple customers today, and we should have some live views. We are expecting payload deployments to start in about 45 seconds from now, and there you can see a live view on our second stage. Looking forward at our payloads, you're going to see some different views and some different payloads still attached to Falcon 9's second stage. Again, we will begin deployments in about 30 seconds or so, and they will be one right after another, so we should get some really cool live views of each of these CubeSats, microsats deploying here shortly.
Quick 3, separation confirmed.
And we just heard confirmation of Quick 3 separation beginning our payload deploys.
IoT 10, separation confirmed. Connector IoT 11, separation confirmed. Mobius 1, separation confirmed. UND Roads 1, separation confirmed. Connector IoT 12, separation confirmed. Good Ancestor Kila Kila and Ridusat, separation confirmed. Jack 001, separation confirmed. Hyperfield 1B, separation confirmed. TPA1, separation confirmed. Pierre, separation confirmed. DoothSat 2, separation confirmed. Satmar, separation confirmed. Connector IoT 9, separation confirmed. Otter Pup 2, separation confirmed. BRO 18, separation confirmed. Valme, separation confirmed. UND Roads 2, separation confirmed. OSSIOSat 21, separation confirmed. Arcstone, separation confirmed. Ion SCV Passionate Polar, separation confirmed. IOD2 Startical, separation confirmed. Forge Star 1, separation confirmed. MMS1, separation confirmed. Horus 1, separation confirmed. Horus 2, separation confirmed. Constellar Sky B2, separation confirmed. Varda's W4, separation confirmed. pulsar IOV separation confirmed.
It's your great call out so far for those payload deployments. We've now got just 2 minutes until the final payload for this deployment sequence.
And we did get some cool views of some of those CubeSats and microsats being deployed there. We should be able to see more during the rest of this mission. And as Tyler mentioned, we are just under a couple minutes away from the last payload deployment in this batch. There's going to be 3 batches, so we're still in the first batch of deployments and have 1 more deployment to go. Once again, if you're just now joining, you are watching the Transporter 14 mission. We're currently in the first batch of deployments of 3. We've deployed 29 payloads so far. We do have 1 more to go coming up here.
Separation confirmed. All payloads in the first deploy event successfully separated.
And great timing. That confirms the first batch of payload deployments is now complete.
Next up, we are going to coast until the 3rd MVAC relight, or SES3, which should occur at about T plus 1 hour and 41 minutes. Until then, enjoy the space views and the space jams.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't notice that my mic got on mute. So we got a successful confirmation of the first batch getting to be deployed, with the last one being the Dragoon deployment, starting with the Quick 3 deployment. Next, at T plus 1 hour and 41 minutes, we will have the 3rd time ignition of the 2nd stage MVAC engine. Following that, we will have the 3rd time shutdown of the 2nd stage MVAC engine, that is SECO 3. And in between, we won't be having any more coast phase. We will have coast phase, but no payload deployment will be there. Next up, again, we will have the 4th ignition of the MVAC engine on the 2nd stage, that is SES 4, followed by SECO 4 at T plus 2 hours and 12 minutes and a half. Next up, we will have the 2nd batch of the payload deployment to begin at T plus 2 hours, 16 minutes and 4 seconds, starting with the Stitch satellite deployment, which will be manifested by Exolaunch. I kept the timeline to be open on my phone so that I can say that and to keep you guys updated. So as now we are about 35 minutes of coast phase, let's get back to our payload discussion. But before that, would like to address Pop Tripika as well as Angry Bird. Well, Angry Bird, you sent the comment quite a long ago. I'm sorry that I didn't notice it. But how much time is left? I see you this will be taking a good time today, with approximately 2 hours and let me see, 2 hours and 43 minutes for the complete deployment to be get done. So we are just now, you can say, 1 hour and 37 minutes to be get done with the all payload deployment to be done. Right now we got the first batch of the payload to be deployed successfully, with the last one being the Dracoon and the first one starting with the Quick 3 satellite. We had a successful second stage MVAC engine ignition and cutoff for the second time in today's flight. Now it's the third time and the fourth time we are waiting for. Following that, we will have the second batch of the payloads to be getting deployed. So during our discussion about the payload, we were discussing lastly about the AE-2A satellite developed by JAXA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. And this satellite will be operated by JAXA as well. The AE-2A satellite is likely a technology demonstration satellite, possibly testing new systems or sensors for future JAXA missions. Specific details are limited, but it aligns with JAXA's focus on advancing space technology. Again, next we have another satellite from JAXA, that is AE-3VA. Like the previous one, AE-2A, AE-3VA is likely a technology demo satellite testing new systems or payloads to support JAXA's broader mission objectives through details, though details are not so much clear to me, as at least. This small JAXA satellite highlight how rideshare allows even established agencies to experiment cost-effective, potentially shaping their future missions. While with this, I agree with Pop Tripica. Really, we must appreciate SpaceX for providing these services, else right now we are not having much option for rideshare missions. We do have Rocket Labs, but they have their limitations. And of course, it's not that the SpaceX is without having any limits. They also do have limitations, but the limit the SpaceX is pushing is a little bit higher than the Rocket Lab. The next payload on board is the AdCube. Well, although I couldn't figure out by which organization it was developed by and by whom it will be operated, but this will be, I guess, a commercial or an academic entity behind this satellite, and this satellite will be manifested by Exolaunch. This cube satellite for will be used for tech demonstration, Internet of Things, or scientific research, typical of rideshare payloads. But to be honest, the details are not clear to me, as a clarity for the further details for this AdCube satellite is very much limited on web. Next, we have the ArcStone satellite developed by NASA's Langray Research Center and will be operated by NASA. About NASA's Langley, we are all familiar with a key NASA research center which focuses on aerospace technologies, including satellite calibration and Earth observation systems. The Purpose and goal of this satellite Arkstone is to improve calibration of Earth observation instruments, ensuring more accurate data for climate and environmental monitoring. Next, we have Arvakar 2 and 3 satellites on board by Kongsberg Defence of Australia. The Arvakar 2 and 3 are likely CubeSats for secure communication or defense-related tech demos supporting Australia's national security objectives. So, as this is a national security related payload, again, the details are very much limited, but this much I could find on the web to share with you guys. And with that, my research for the payload on board is done. I could figure out only these 24 satellites in details to share the insight for them with you guys. Now on your screen, you can see the payload views on board the second stage, orbiting for their deployment. Currently, we are in the second course phase for today's flight, and we are waiting for the third relight of the second stage MBAC engine, followed by the fourth one. And then we will have the second batch of payload deployment that will begin with Stitch satellite deployment manifested by Exolaunch. Now I will join you guys in a while as we are in a course phase. You enjoy the views from the second stage with the payload waiting for their deployment. I will join you guys in a while. Meanwhile, enjoy the stream. Hi, myself Dipto Mitra, joining you back again from AstroYonder team. Right now, we are getting close to the third ignition of the second stage MVAC engine, planned for approximately, you can say 3 minutes from now. We did saw a successful first batch of the payload deployment, starting with the Quick 3 satellite and ending with the Dragoon satellite to be deployed. Now we are waiting for the third second stage engine start at T plus 1 hour 41 minutes and 40 seconds, and that burn will last just 1 second, and then we will be having the SECO 3. Following that, we will have again 32 minutes of coast phase. But wait, the payload deployment won't start again. We will have, after the coast phase, we will have the second stage engine ignition for the fourth time in today's flight. And following that event, we will be having, just after 4 minutes from the SECO 4, we will have the second batch of the payload deployment.
Second stage vehicle, looking at the MVAC engine. Not currently ignited. We're currently coasting. Again, SES-3 is coming up here in about a minute or so. And we'll burn for just about a second. Very quick burn for the second stage.
Today, really, I must appreciate that we are getting some awesome views from the second stage. Today, Transporter 14 mission will be deploying the 70 payloads on board. The first batch of the 70 payloads have already been deployed.
Up here in about 30 seconds. Just patiently waiting for that third burn of this MVAC engine on the second stage.
Ignition. Shut up.
And there you have the call out, MVAC ignition for the third time in today's flight, that is SES-3. And we did got the call out as well as the good nominal parking orbit. Now again, we will be having the 32 minutes of coast phase. Following that event, we will be having the fourth ignition of the second stage MVAC engine. And just after that, about 4 minutes, we will have the second batch deployment of today's payload on board. We just saw the second stage MVAC engine start, also known as SES-3, and that burn lasted just around for 1 second, and we did got the call out for SECO 3 and a good nominal parking orbit insertion. And as I mentioned before, now 32 minutes or approximately 31 minutes from now, we will have the fourth SES-3, fourth ignition of the MVAC engine, and the shutdown of the second stage engine, that is SECO 4. Following that event, after 4 minutes, we will again start deploying the second batch of the payloads. So meanwhile, you enjoy these live views which we are getting from the second stage. I will take a break in a while and will join you guys shortly. Till then, enjoy the stream. Hi there, myself Dipto Maitra from AstroYonder team, joining you back as we are waiting for the fourth ignition of the second stage MVAC engine in today's flight, that is SES-4, for a short 2 seconds of burn that will mark the SECO-4. And following that event, just after 4 minutes, we will have the second batch of payload deployment to begin, with the first with the stitch to get deployed, manifested by Exolaunch. Today we have a planned 5 relights of the second stage MVAC engine, as we need to precisely place the payloads into desired orbits for the respective payloads as they tend to reach their objectives. So currently we are waiting for the fourth ignition of the second stage MVAC engine, that is known as SES-4. And once again, just to remind you, today is the 17th rideshare mission for SpaceX in total. And for this year, it marks the fourth one. That includes one bandwagon series launch. That was the bandwagon 3, launched in April, and 2 from the Transporter series, Transporter 13 in March and Transporter 12 back in January 2025.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to our live coverage of the Transporter 14 mission. We're currently just about a minute away or so from the third relight of our Merlin vacuum engine on the Falcon 9 second stage, which is also known as SES-4, second stage engine start 4. And once that short burn, which is going to last just about 1 second, once that short burn completes, it'll be followed by the next batch of payload deployments.
As a reminder, today we are delivering 70 payloads across 66 deployments. We already have deployed in the first batch of 30, and then we have 36 left to go. There will be 35 deployments in this round, and our final deployment will come after a short break. For now, let's stand by for SES-4 and SECO-4 callouts happening shortly.
Why did Jeshi mention that it's the third relight? What, it's the fourth relight? No, as the name itself suggests, SES-4.
We are expecting to have live views. We don't have live views just this moment, so you can follow along with our map on the screen for the stage 2 trajectory. But we are expecting to gain live views again just before SES-4.
We are just less than 15 seconds approximately from the fourth ignition of the second stage MVAC engine. Hopefully we will be getting the live view. There we go, we have the live view on there. And there you have it. We got the SES-4. That is the fourth time the second stage
Nominal orbit insertion.
ignites for the fourth time in today's flight. And also we did saw the SECO-4, that is the second stage engine cutoff. That burn was just for 2 seconds. And we did got the successful call out for a good healthy nominal orbit insertion. Now, approximately 3.5 minutes from now, we will be having the second batch of payload deployment to start with the stitch to deploy. The next set of payload deployment will begin at T plus 2 hours, 16 minutes and 4 seconds approximately. So we are just close to 2 minutes, and we have the onboard camera view about the second stage showing the payloads on board. I'll be turning off my cam so that you guys can enjoy the payload deployment views in a good way. And this time we had the fourth ignition of the MVAC engine. Now next we will be having the last one, the fifth one, SES-5. And this time this second batch deployment of the payload will consist of 36 satellites.
And again, we are expecting to have live views just as we do right now, which you are seeing from the Falcon 9 second stage, looking forward at the payloads attached to the payload.
Now we are just less than 1 minute from the payload deployment to begin, with the stitch being the first one in the second batch of payload deployment. So you guys enjoy the stream while I'm turning off the camera for now. We'll join you shortly.
We are expecting payload deployments to begin for the second batch in about 5 seconds or so. We're going to stand by, listen, and watch as these payloads deploy.
Stitch deploy confirmed. Padre deploy confirmed. ADDQ deploy confirmed. Lemur 2 Krish deploy confirmed. Satoru T3 deploy confirmed. Shaggy deploy confirmed. Peruse T2 deploy confirmed. A3VA deploy confirmed. Lilo deploy confirmed. Bifrost deploy confirmed. Time flies deploy confirmed. A2A deploy confirmed. Arviker 2 deploy confirmed. Arviker 3 deploy confirmed. Lemur 2 Zhejiang 2 deploy confirmed. Scooby deploy confirmed. HEO-8 deploy confirmed. HEO-2 deploy confirmed. HEO-3 deploy confirmed. ISI-2 deploy confirmed. ISI-3 deploy confirmed. HEO-9 deploy confirmed. HEO-5 deploy confirmed. ISI-1 deploy confirmed. Acadia-7 deploy confirmed. HEO-4 deploy confirmed. MuSat-3 deploy confirmed. ISI-5 deploy confirmed. Ion SCV charismatic Carlos deploy confirmed. ISI-4 deploy confirmed. YAM-10 deploy confirmed. GRUS-3 deploy confirmed. HEO-6 deploy confirmed.
Lyra 3 separation confirmed.
We're currently still in the second batch of deployments for this mission today for Transporter 14. We are waiting one more payload deploy for this batch to be completed. We are expecting that in just about a minute from now. So far, we have deployed 64 payloads. We are expecting to deliver 70 payloads today. Again, currently in the second batch of 3 batches for today's mission. Again, we got some good live views looking forward at the payload adapter. We still have a few more payloads attached as we're working through the Transporter 14 mission today.
ISI 6, deploy confirmed. All payloads.
So there we have it. We got the second batch of the payload deployment to be completed successfully. Right now, we will be waiting for the fifth time, the second stage, and the final time it will be the second stage will reignite for approximately 5 seconds of burn. Now we will be again in a course phase for 15 minutes approximately. We already deployed 65 payloads in today's payload manifest. Today, SpaceX is delivering 70 payloads. And the last payload to be getting deployed after the 5th ignition of the second stage ignition. It will be the Mission Possible capsule manufactured by the exploration company. So the second stage MVAC engine ignition for the 5th time and for the final time will be happening at T plus 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 2 hours, 40 minutes and 13 seconds into the flight. That will be a short 5 seconds of burn, getting done with a burn for the 5th time at T plus 2 hours, 40 minutes and 18 seconds. And again, following that, we will be having a 3 minutes of course phase, approximately 3.5 minutes of course phase before the Mission Possible capsule deploys for the exploration company. So I will let you guys to enjoy the view from the second stage with the payloads on board, and I will join you guys in a while. Till then, enjoy the stream.
conclusion of SpaceX's Transporter 14 mission. Before the break, we saw the second batch of payloads deployed, which had 35 in that group, and now we are waiting for the second stage Merlin vacuum engine to perform a deorbit burn, and that should happen less than 1 minute from now. It's a short burn. It'll last just 5 seconds before shutdown.
And this will be the fifth burn, technically, for this mission. As we mentioned earlier before the break, this is a little bit different from most launches. We typically complete the deorbit burn before the last payload is deployed, but today our final payload, Mission Possible, is a re-entry capsule. So the deorbit burn will occur prior to payload deploy, and it will enable it to re-enter and splash down on a similar trajectory as Falcon 9's second stage. And after the deorbit burn, that final payload deployment should occur at about T plus 2 hours and 43 minutes. So we do have a few minutes before that payload deploy, and we have the deorbit burn coming up here in just about a minute from now. And we are coming up on that deorbit burn here in a few seconds. And you just saw on your screen the
nominal deorbit burn.
Well, hi there once again, me Dipto, joining us from AstroYonder team. So we did saw the final and the fifth ignition of the second stage MVAC engine. That's the deorbit burn. And following that, about 3 minutes from now, 3 minutes and 50 seconds from now, we will be having the final payload, that is the Mission Possible capsule for the exploration company to be getting deployed. That will be deploying just prior to the re-entry of the second stage, as the second stage had its deorbit burn. And as you just heard, the Mission Possible capsule is a re-entry vehicle. It will follow the same trajectory of the second stage, following the deorbit trajectory for the second stage, and it will be having a controlled atmospheric re-entry and splashdown.
Separation from Falcon 9. Then we'll have autonomous atmospheric re-entry guided by the onboard flight software and the GNC system, and reaching peak temperatures of approximately 2,000 degrees Celsius. Afterwards, we'll have dual-stage parachute deployment and ocean splashdown, at which point there will be a capsule recovery at sea, and the payloads will be returned to Europe. This demonstration will validate critical systems such as propulsion, avionics, re-entry aerodynamics, thermal protection, and maritime recovery.
We are just about 1 minute from now for the final deployment of the 70 payloads on board for the Transporter 14 mission. That will be the Mission Possible deployment. And right now on your screen, you can see from the telemetry the altitude for the second stage is decreasing. Although it's a DA orbit, it's performing, so that will be happening slowly.
And orbital transfer vehicles carrying 3 of those payloads to be deployed at a later time. And we are through 2 of 3 batches of deployments. Again, we are awaiting the final deployment, the Mission Possible capsule, coming up here in about 20 seconds.
Mission Possible capsule deploy confirmed.
So there's a confirmation of the successful deployment of the Mission Possible capsule. So that's the confirmation of the all payload on board the Falcon 9 being deployed.
To complete its mission.
Now with that, we will wrap up today's webcast. Today's launch marks SpaceX's 505th successful mission, with landing marking their 465th success and the 17th dedicated rideshare mission for SpaceX. So with that, we will wrap up our coverage for now. But before wrapping up, I want to thank you for wherever you are watching our live launch coverage. It is impossible to do this broadcast without you and your encouragement. So thank you for your continuous support of what we do here at AstroYonder. Really thanks to those who, special thanks I must say, to those who stick around till the end. I really appreciate your kind patience, and be sure to check out our upcoming Axiom mission launch coverages. The streams are already posted on our channel and it's waiting for your visit. Although the launch date is not yet determined. Also check out our social media handle on X for the latest happenings in the space industry and updates on the upcoming launches. I guess our X handle link got posted on the chat section. We appreciate everyone joining us for today's Transporter 14 mission launch. Wishing you a nice week ahead. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me Dipto sign off for now, and we will see you soon.